Everyone, it's Heidi from flutterbyheidi.wordpress.com and I've come to do the video, I try again to do the video for this double gatefold card. This is the one that I entered and won the Poodles Colour Challenge with, and I did some other variations as well on my blog which are very much masculine cards. So having done the masculine card, I thought actually it would be rather nice to do a version using the lovely penned and painted stamp set, which is this one here, which is a lovely floral stamp set and just really pretty. So without further ado, which tends to be a phrase I seem to use quite a lot, first of all you need a piece of cardstock which is 11.5 by 6 inches. So this is able to be made from a A4, either UK or US piece of cardstock. And first thing you're going to do is line it up on the right hand side at 1 inch, and you're going to make 2 cuts. You're going to cut from, on the Stampin' Up trimmer, from 1.8 down to at 12 centimetres, then lift up, and keeping it in the same place, you're then going to cut from it's 17 to 27.2 centimetres, so 17 down to 27.2, and the dimensions in both inches and centimetres are on my blog. Having done that, you want to turn it round and line up at 5 inches, and then you're going to make the exact same cut. So again, coming up to the top here, it's from 1.8 up there down to 12, lift up, and it's from 17 to 27.2. Okay, so those are the cuts that you're going to make. Now we're going to do some scoring, and some of the scoring is going to be all the way, others is going to be just the top and the bottom. So if you put it in landscape, and at 3/4 of an inch, you're going, so 3/4 of an inch on the right hand side here, you're going to do top and bottom only, so that's above and below the score lines. Then you're going to move it to 1 3/4, so let's turn it round and put it to 1 3/4 inches. And you're going to go all the way top to bottom. Then at 3 3/4 inches, all the way top to bottom. Then at 4 3/4 inches, top and bottom only, so that's just above that cut line and below that cut line. At 6 3/4 inches, that's one of those horrible ones where it's just across the score line, above and below again, so below the cut line, above the cut line. At 7 3/4 inches, you're going to go all the way, so you can see it's starting to mirror what we've got here. And at 9 3/4 inches, again all the way, and then at 10 3/4 inches, just top and bottom. Okay, so now you can pop away your trimmer, and you should have a piece of cardstock that looks like this. Now what we're going to do is actually we're going to fold these score lines, and I find the best way is to just ease them all gently on the away from where you've scored. So you can just see there where the score line is. I'm just making sure all of those are just gently creased. Okay. Okay, so having done that, what you're now going to do is you're going to start folding, and you'll see from this that they actually fold in different directions, you see here. So if we start from the middle, that first one is a mountain on the outside, which means it's a valley on the inside. So mountain and valley. Then it goes in the opposite direction, so valley, so this one's a mountain. And then you'll see that naturally those ones become mountain folds. So gently fold it, and then I come in and crease and burnish with my bone fold like so. And then you repeat that on the opposite side. So mountain, which means that this one's a valley. Valley, which means that this one's a mountain. And just gently make those a mountain, fold those in, and then come in with your bone folder. Now this is why I've made it from not from 12-inch cardstock. So you see you've got this gap on the front here. So you need 2 pieces of cardstock for those front panels, and these pieces of cardstock, I can't find my dimensions. Okay, there's a chart on the on the front on my blog, and these front panels are 1 3/4 by 5 3/4. No, I tell a lie, they're not. They're 6 inches by 2 inches. It's the panels that go on the front there. So 6 inches by 2 inches, these ones. And you're going to glue them on the front here. Now, I recommend to do that actually what you do is you put your glue on the card, and you're just going to come down on the outside edge. So fold it back in, and you're coming in and lining up at the centre. So glue, fold, and then press that in position, and then repeat on the other side. So obviously I'm using my fast fuse here. You could use tape if you prefer. So again, fold that in and line it up. And that's your basic card there. So now we need to decorate, and as I said, this is Blushing Bride. I'm using some rose red, and I've already done one panel here to go on the front. So I'll show you how to do the panel. So for that panel, what you need is this is where you need the 1 3/4 by 5 3/4 cardstock. And I've got a piece of rose red and a piece of Whisper White to go with that. So these are the panels here. So this panel here is the contrast colour, which is going to go straight onto the front there. Oh, I've just got a little bit of glue. If ever you get that, if you just bring your finger very gently around the outside edge, and that will just tuck it in, and then you can come in with your eraser afterwards to lift that up. Okay, so there we go. There's our panel. So this is the one we're going to stamp, and this panel of Whisper White is 1 1/2 inches by 5 1/2 inches, and what I'm using here is just a piece of scrap paper, and I'm going to come in with the lovely Pendant Painted, and just, you'll see there's a little point on the side here, so that helps you get your orientation right. And I'm just stamping off either side. Okay. Then I'm going to come in with some Blushing Bride ink, and using the other stamp that coordinates, and you can see because it's got a pointer on it, it just pops it down straight on. And the way it's made, you don't have to be 100% precise. I think it's rather nice when you come off the side slightly, but it gives a lovely texture already without you doing anything extra to it. So this is the beauty of these lovely 2-step stamps, that they really do create a lovely effect. And then I'm going to come in now with just a little bit of, move that out of the way, of Daffodil Delights. It's using quite a few inks. You don't have to do this, but I just think it just brings that centre of the flower to life. So there you go. So there's our Daffodil Delights just in the middle there to liven up our flowers. And then I've done the leaves here in some wild wasabi, and you could use any green that you've got. You can get different shades by stamping off. We've talked about that before, which I'll show you in a moment. So I'm just going to come in with the leaves, and you can just orientate them as you want. And then on the other side, I've actually put the infill of the leaves, and because I've used the first impression for the actual leaf, I'm going to stamp off. This is stamping off, which it's just stamping on a bit of scrap paper, and then come in with the leaf. So again, with each of those, I'm just coming in, having stamped off, and that just gives you that lighter shade of colour. It's a really good way of getting lovely tone, coordinating colours on whatever project you're doing. So that's our panel for the front. And all I need to do now is just adhere that to the front of our card. So again, because we're doing card, I'm using my fuse. Just a couple of rings of fast fuse. And then that panel just goes on the front there. As I showed you, I've already done a second panel. So again, and you can see our card starting to take shape already. So that's our basic card. We now need to do some decoration for the middle. So what I've done here is created a couple of side panels for the inside and one for the very middle, which is going to have our sentiment on it. So again, I've done a layer of the rose red and the whisper white. And for this panel here, I'm again going to use the same. So I'm only using one stamp set for this. So again, coming with our scrap paper, and this time I'm actually going to use the stem and the flowers with the same ink, so we keep it all, although we're using several inks, you know, you could recreate this yourself. So I'm just going to come in with our flower head and with the stem. So there we go, there's our stem, our flower head. So take that to one side, and then I'm going to come in with the little flower stamp that we used for the centre of the petals a moment ago, and I'll obviously clean that off with the ink, and I'm going to come in with some Blushing Bride and Rose Red and create a separate little flower. So this is where you can use the centre, and you just come in and just get some of those about, and the Rose Red. And then this is where you can stamp off to give a really pretty flower that you've got. And I always do the lighter colours first, and then I don't have to clean my stamp off quite so often. And I've already done one with there as well, and you can see here the difference it makes just by putting a little bit of ground in. It's always a good idea when you're doing your stamping to ground your images. It's something I probably didn't do as much when I first started stamping, and all I've done is just come in with an aqua painter and just put a little bit of ground in there, so you've actually got more of an impression of your flower. And you can see this delightful little ladybird, which is part of the same stamp set as well. And you'll see here, there's your little ladybird, and there's actually a single little dot as well here, which you can come in and just colour in your ladybird. So I've done a ladybird on that, so I'm not going to do a second ladybird. That might be a little bit overkill. Not everybody likes creatures after all. And then all I'm going to do is layer that up, and that is then our second panel for the card. So there's our card, and that panel just fits in on the side there. And as I said, as you can see from the other versions, you can do as much or as little layering as you want. You can do these extra panels or not, you know, it really is up to you. You can also stamp around the edges of these panels as well if you want to add a little bit more interest. I think with all the flowers on it, it actually doesn't need it. So I'm just going to put a straightforward panel of the rose red in the middle there. But I'm now going to come in and stamp this, and this is actually now using a retired stamp set, but I just love that this is such a belated birthday card for a little friend of mine, and this is from the Remembering Your Birthday stamp set, and I think it is great because actually what it says is, I remembered and thought, but then I forgot. Happy belated birthday, which I think that we're all guilty of. Even with the best organisation in the world, we can't always get it right all of the time. And then all I'm going to do is do this just to finish it off, because it looks a little bit bland on its own. So I'm going to come in with the other flower. And you can just see that straight away lifts the effect that you've got. You don't have to do very much on it at all to get a lovely effect. And then again on you've got an infill stamp that comes in with this one as well, so you can just pop it in, and you've got your little here pointers to help with your orientation. So there's our centre sentiment panel, and that can go straight in the middle. So again, just a little bit of fuse on the back there. And because this has got quite a few layers, I'm not using dimensionals, which I know you've seen me use before. There we go. So there's our basic card, and then I'm just going to put some little decorations around the outside edge, and I've already made several of these, and this is again using that lovely little accent with the flowers, and it really does just, it's very easy to do. You just take some ink, as we've just done, and using a couple of colours of ink, just come in and stamp on your piece. Obviously on the other ones, this is easiest if you do it as a single piece and then cut it up, or you can do it as individual pieces as well. So that's how we've done our little panels, and these are, the pink is 3/4 by 1 3/4, and this is actually different to on my blog, so I will add these extra measurements in. And the white piece is 5/8 by 1 5/8, and the reason for that is I'd originally intended to change the dimensions when I was playing around with them, and to be quite honest with you, I completely forgot. So you've now got panels that actually fit better on the in the gap that we've got. They're just a slightly different shape. So it's marginally better, this video, I think, than the last one, although it has had, as always, I'm fumbling about. I do these live. I work full time, so I don't have time to edit the videos, and in some ways I quite like doing it real time, because I feel it gives you a better feel for how long it takes to make a card, and you can hopefully, once you've prepared it, make it along with me and stop as you go along. So there we go, there's our card. Folds up like so. You could put the buttons on, I've done one there, but I don't think it needs it. I just think it's really pretty as it is. I hope you agree, and I hope you enjoyed making it, and that this helps those of you that perhaps don't find it as easy to follow written instructions. Come back and join me again soon. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you get updates on whenever I post a new video. And please shop with me. The details of where you can buy Stampin' Up! Products are online, and you're looking for Heidi Smith as your demonstrator. I hope you join me and come back again soon. Thanks then. Bye-bye.